Hola. Our class today is about el presente progresivo. El presente progresivo is used when we express actions that are happening right now, ahora mismo. Unlike English, Spanish may use the simple present tense to express ongoing action. For example, hablo español por teléfono. To the native speaker, this statement may mean I speak English on the phone or I am speaking Spanish on the phone right now, depending on the context. But to emphasize the ongoingness aspect, Spanish often uses the present progressive, a combination of the verb estar plus the present participle, very much as we do in English, as expressed in the quote, I am speaking Spanish. So in Spanish, it would look something like estoy hablando español por teléfono. So here you have the verb estar conjugated, the verb hablar plus the present participle that we are going to talk about it in a second, español por teléfono. One thing you need to be very careful is that in Spanish, we only use the present progressive to express actions that are happening right now, just right now. It's not used for habitual actions such as I speak Spanish every day, nor can it be used to express future actions, just like we do in English. In English, if I say, I'm speaking at the conference tomorrow, it sounds okay. We are using the present progressive, but our intention is to express something in the future. You cannot do that in Spanish. You can only use the present progressive to express something you are doing right now. ¿Cómo se forma? How do we form the present progressive? Well, make sure you conjugate the verb estar according to the subject that you are using. Then you get the action you want to express, and you need to add what we call the present participle. What is it? Well, it's the ending ando or yendo. You're going to use ando to AR verbs and yendo to ER or IR verbs. So you have the action, for example, hablar, you drop the AR. Since hablar is an AR verb, you're going to add ando. Beber, you drop the ER and you add yendo. Escribir, drop the IR and you add yendo as well. So I can say I am talking, I'm speaking, estoy hablando. If I say we are drinking coffee, estamos bebiendo café. If I say the students are writing, los estudiantes están escribiendo. Let's practice. Let's see with AR verbs. ¿Qué está haciendo este señor? Está cantando, because here we are using the verb cantar. So remember, drop the AR and add ando since cantar is an AR verb. ¿Qué están haciendo los jóvenes? El verbo es mirar. Están mirando una película de terror. ¿Qué está haciendo la estudiante? El verbo es caminar. Está caminando. ¿Qué están haciendo los futbolistas? El verbo es jugar. Están jugando fútbol o al fútbol. ¿Qué estamos haciendo en la biblioteca? El verbo es estudiar. Estamos estudiando. ¿Qué están haciendo los novios? El verbo es bailar. Están bailando. ¿Qué está haciendo el banquero? El verbo es contar. Está contando su dinero. ¿Qué está haciendo la niña? Está bebiendo leche. Now we are using ER verbs. ¿Qué está haciendo la señorita? Está escogiendo un libro. ¿Qué está haciendo la cocinera? Está haciendo una pizza. ¿Qué están haciendo los muchachos? Están comiendo en un café. ¿Qué está haciendo la muchacha? Está viendo la televisión. ¿Qué está haciendo el vendedor? Está vendiendo sombreros. ¿Qué está haciendo la señorita? Está corriendo tras el autobús. ¿Qué está haciendo el joven? Está escribiendo una invitación. ¿Qué está haciendo el violonista? Está subiendo la escalera. ¿Qué están haciendo los estudiantes? Están discutiendo. ¿Qué está haciendo el policía? Está dirigiendo a la señorita. Now we have some irregular verbs that we need to be careful. We use the present participle yendo with an Y, with a Y, instead of with an I, for ER and IR verbs whose stem ends in a vowel, okay? So, let's see. What is the stem of a verb? You have the verb ler. When you drop the ER, you have this part here. This is called the stem of the verb. So, if you have a verb that ends in a vowel, when you have the stem, you are going to add yendo with a Y instead with an I, okay? For example, the verb leer. Estoy leyendo el cuento. So instead of having an I here, I have a Y. Juan y María están trayendo la comida. Estamos oyendo el CD de Rubén Blades. ¿Qué está haciendo la señorita? Está leyendo el menú. So with a Y here. ¿Qué está haciendo la señora? Está trayendo la comida. She's bringing the food. ¿Qué está haciendo el anciano? Está oyendo música. How about stem changing verbs? You don't need to worry about stem changing verbs if they are AR or ER stem changing verbs. But if you have any IR stem changing verbs, you need to be careful because there are some changes. Let's see. For example, when you have a verb like dormir, originally the stem changes to UE, right? But when you are using the present progressive, you're going to change that stem to that vowel O to a U. So instead of dormiendo, you're going to say durmiendo, okay? For example, el niño está durmiendo tranquilamente. If you have an IR stem changing verb that the stem changes from E to I, you also change from E to I when you're dealing with present progressive. Papá está sirviendo la comida. Pedir. Estamos pidiendo el dinero. Same rule here. So again, don't worry if it's AR or ER stem changing verb. Okay, ending. You need to worry though if it's an IR stem changing verb because they will change just like these examples that I have here. Okay? Let's see some examples. ¿Qué está haciendo el joven? Está durmiendo. ¿Qué está haciendo el dependiente? Está sirviendo al cliente. ¿Qué está haciendo la señorita? Está pidiendo la comida. Now, we need to be careful when we use reflexive verbs. Where are we going to place the pronoun? Well, you have an option. Whenever you are dealing with reflexive verbs, you can say, for example, ¿Qué está haciendo el niño? The verb is bañarse, right? So you can place the reflexive pronoun before the verb estar. I can say, el niño se está bañando, or you can attach it to the verb in the ing form, but forming one long word. And in this case, you need to place an accent mark, okay? You add an accent mark on the stressed syllable when the pronoun is attached to the participle. So just to be safe, I would recommend you to place the reflexive pronoun before the verb estar, just so you don't get confused where to place the accent mark. Well, I hope that was helpful. Adios.